What's up, guys? Today is the first episode of the shooter game. Yeah, it's how to make a shooter game in Scratch. So we're gonna start off, by creating a sprite. And then we can name it player. We need a player in a shooter game, right? All I did was get the background. That's all I did. Just colored it with this color. And then now what I'm gonna do is make the player, I think, red. Cause why not? I'm gonna make it a red triangle because why not? So how to draw a triangle is very simple. Get a square the size of the triangle you want. I'm gonna do it 32 by 32 like that, and then you're gonna go to the one end and then put a dot there, select pointed. Now delete this dot and delete that dot. You will be able to get a triangle. But this, when you look at the screen, for right now, you know that this is the front, but you won't be able to know it when we start to make that spinning and stuff. So just to make it a bit more clear, we're going to duplicate that, put it on top of it, and we're going to make it darker. And then we're going to select a dot right here, select pointed, and I'm going to bring the dot over around right here, where my mouse is right now. So I think, or actually let's go one more. I think this should do it. Now it's a lot more clear that that is the front of the player. So now what we're going to do is go to variables. We're going to start off with creating variables. There are 3 variables we'll have to create for this sprite right now. We need the speed variable for the player speed, and then x velocity and y velocity. So those are the 3 variables we need for the player. So what we're going to do is go to event, get a when green flag is clicked, go to looks, go to front layer. We want the player to be on top of other stuffs. And then we can go to variables. We can set speed to the speed you want. I think 1 is going to be good. Now this is using the x velocity and y velocity method. So like even 4 is going to be very, very fast. Now we're going to set x velocity and y velocity to 0 when the game starts. Now what we're going to do is go to control, get a forever loop. Now we're going to go to blocks, create a block. We're going to name it movement, like we always do. Run with a screen refresh and type in speed. Click OK, and then you can bring that down right here. Movement goes in there. Go to variables, get the speed variable. Now go to position, get a point towards mouse pointer. We want to be aiming with our mouse, so now currently it's following the mouse. There are methods where you can just make it smoothly turn towards the mouse, but you know that requires more code, and I think this method is just fine. Now we can go to control, get an if statement, go to sensing, get a key pressed. You can do arrow keys. I'm going to do WASD keys. That is a lot easier for me. So now we can do W, basically up arrow key. We can change our Y velocity by the speed. We're basically going to do the same for other stuff like key S pressed, which is the down arrow. So key S pressed, we're going to do times -1 or 0 minus speed. And then we can duplicate both of those. And then you can make this D and A, which is right arrow and left arrow. And then you can change this to X velocity for both of them, and that is going to be the key pressings. Now we have to apply friction, or it's just going to glide forever. So set X velocity and Y velocity to and then we can get to 2 multiplication signs. So we get x velocity and y velocity, and we'll create another input. We're going to name it friction and then click OK. You can input friction. I'm going to do it 0.86, I think. Now get the friction and then put it in both of these slots. We can go to motion now. We can change X and change Y by the X velocity and the Y velocity. So now what's going to happen is you're going to be able to move your character around without, much difficulties and stuff. Okay, now that isn't working correctly. And then actually what we have to do is go to 0, 0 when the game starts. Now there are times it just starts pressing it by itself, so I'm going to quickly refresh the page. Now if we go, we got the movements, and it's working all good. If you did key press, change X by stuff, change Y by stuff, using these variables in Y velocity, X velocity method, it'll give that smooth gliding at the end, which I think is a good addition. So that is going to be all for the player right now, and we can currently create a new sprite. We can name it bullet, and then what I'm going to do for the bullet is I'm going to copy the player sprite, paste it in, and I'm going to make it a lot smaller because I'm lazy, and this is not a bad method. Now what you want to do, this is even easier. Go to events, get a when green flag is clicked. We're going to hide, and then you can quickly duplicate that, get rid of this. Now go to control, get a forever loop, forever, if, and then go to operators, get a and, get a mouse down, and we can get a less than, and then 0.1, and then we can get the timer. We can put it in there. And then we can get create clone of myself, and then reset timer. Then that is going to be allow us to shooting the bullets. But currently what it does is it just clones it, but you can't even see it cloning because the thing is currently hiding. So what we're going to do is go to control. When I start as a clone, go to looks, get a show. But still, it won't move or anything. It'll just clone, and only in the middle. So now the first thing we're going to do is go to motion, go to player, and then point in direction, go to sensing, get this block, change this to player and the direction of the player. Now what we're going to do is control forever. We're going to move, I think, 10 steps for now. Now we can do if touching the edge, delete this clone. Now if we click the green flag and try shooting, we can see that the bullets are shooting pretty nice. So now what we're going to do is move on to the enemies. So we can click paint, we can do enemy, and then I'm going to make the enemy, I think, an orange square. It's going to be very, very nice. I'm going to make it smaller than the player, so I think 24 by 24 is going to be good. I'm going to quickly delete that and then redraw one. Let's make it smaller until it's 24 by 24. So that is currently one more pixel, and there you go. That is a 24 by 24 square. Now that is looking good, and there is basically nothing too much more for the enemies too. We're going to create a new sprite. We're going to name it health, and for this sprite only, that is very important. And then type for this sprite only, that is also very important. So now what we're going to do is go to events, get a when green flag is clicked, go to looks, get the hide, go to control, get a forever loop, and then get the wait 1 second block, and then we can get the pick random 1 to 10 when we're actually going to change it to pick random 1.5 to 2. And then we can do set type to 0. Normal. Obviously, you can name it something different, but normal is very fine. And then we can create clone of myself. And then we can get when I start as a clone. We can set health to 3 and then go to 0, 0, and then we can do if else equals pick a random is 1 to 2, 1. Then we can change x by 10, to 40, and change x by negative 240. We can duplicate that, do the same for the y, just change it to change y, and change y, and change it to 180 and negative 180. So that is the positioning done. It'll spawn from the 4 sides, and then we can show after that. Now what this is going to do is get the enemies spawning around the map, like there you go. And then, yeah, that's working good. But, these are currently spawning in all 4 corners, which we sort of want them to spawn on the edges. So what we're going to do is leave it for the next episode, because why not? Yeah. And then you can go to control, get a forever loop, and then go to motion, get a point towards. And I mean, if you like how it just spawns from all 4 corners, then you can keep that. But we're going to try to make it so it spawns from the sides as well. So point towards the player and then move. We can, I think, 0.7 steps is good. And then you can go to control, get an if statement. If touching the bullet, which means it's going to get hurt. We're going to go to control, get a wait. We're going to wait 0 seconds. Go to variables, get a change health. We're going to change it by negative 1. And then we're going to go to looks, get a set brightness effect. So right there. And then we're going to set it to negative 10. And then we can duplicate that and then set it back to 0. But then we're going to put a wait 0.01 seconds in between. We're going to do if operators less than, if health is less than 1, we're going to delete this clone. Now if we check it out, now we can shoot the bullets and we can shoot it to the enemies. But currently the bullets won't delete itself after hitting the enemy, which we sort of want to fix. Or if you don't want to fix, in my case it does look cool, but I'm going to fix it for you, is what you're going to do is go to operators, get it, and touching the enemy right there. So now we can put those together and put it right over there. So now what you'll be able to get is the basic shooter game going on. We can shoot bullets like that, and that looks really cool. Now currently it seems like there isn't enough detection time, so I'm going to quickly change that to 0.1, I think. And then that is going to be fine. Yeah, there you go. Or actually it isn't deleting. That is a and, so that is why. It has to be a or, not a and. So I'm gonna change that back to 0. And then if we try again, there you go. But now they're not getting damaged because it's deleting too fast. So I'm gonna get rid of the 0 seconds too. Yeah, it is deleting a bit too fast. And what we can do is make the bullets wait a 0 seconds so the enemies can detect it. So now if we test it out, the enemies can detect it pretty easily. And then that looks really, really cool. Yes, you can sort of shoot while going sideways, which makes you look like you're curving the bullet. Anyways, that is going to be it for this episode, and I'll be back in the next episode with much cooler stuff, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace!